7 sinister paranormal footage revealed. Caught on camera, unexplained hauntings that cursed lives. Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that their new home in the quiet Ohio suburb was swallowing them whole. The walls whispered secrets, and the floors creaked as if hiding something sinister beneath their polished surface. At night, when shadows danced just out of reach, she sensed a chilling presence lurking, watching her as she bustled about the modest kitchen. Long hours at the diner blurred the line between fatigue and fear, leaving her heart racing under an oppressive weight. None of it seemed real, but then she would hear it, a low whisper echoing through the dark, chilling her to the bone. At first, she brushed it off. Just the wind, she told herself, just the stress of starting over. The neighbors, with their bright smiles and manicured lawns, offered nothing but friendly nods, but there was a lingering unease that stretched between them, thick as fog. "Did you hear about the last family?" one had murmured during an awkward BBQ. "They just vanished." Pure gossip, Sarah thought, a story meant to bond over hot dogs and coleslaw. But late at night, rocking Max back to sleep, the whispers replayed in her mind. She dismissed them. Just the wind, she told herself, just the stress of starting over. The neighbors, with their bright smiles and manicured lawns, offered nothing but friendly nods, but there was a lingering unease that stretched between them, thick as fog. "Did you hear about the last family?" one had murmured during an awkward BBQ. "They just vanished." Pure gossip, Sarah thought, a story meant to bond over hot dogs and coleslaw. But late at night, rocking Max back to sleep, the whispers replayed in her mind. She dismissed them until Emma's discovery shattered her fragile sense of security. One evening, tucked under warm blankets, Emma's voice pierced the silence. "Mommy, there's a camera in my wall." Confusion mixed with instant dread. Sarah froze, chilling images flashing through her mind. She followed her daughter into the dimly lit room, the soft glow of the screen revealing distorted footage of a family that once decorated the very walls she now called home. Each snapshot showed them smiling, then gradually shifting to anxiety, their faces twisting in fear. The footage froze at the climax, and Sarah's breath caught as their image blinked out, replaced by a wall of static. Ghostly whimpers filled the room, and a cold shiver ran down her spine. "Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue." Desperation clawed at her throat, and she needed answers. Confronting the neighbors the next day was a rush of dread and adrenaline, but their faces twisted with false sympathy, eyes darting away as they spoke in hushed tones. Details of dark rituals, whispers of shadows crawling from beneath the soil. Panic welled within her. She felt eyes upon her as she walked home. Not just the neighbors, but something deeper, older, lurking just out of sight. Chills crept up her spine, and every flicker of movement outside made her breath catch in her throat. Days flowed like quicksand. Each night, sleep fell farther away from her grasp, and with it, the comfort of safety for Emma and Max. Shadows twisted like living things, and every sigh from the old walls felt like a warning. The camera's screen showed glimpses of figures that shouldn't be there, blurred forms standing just outside the windows, watching, waiting. Would they vanish like the last family? Sarah knew with chilling certainty that she couldn't let it happen. How could she escape a nightmare while shackled with two small hearts to protect? The fog of despair thickened, and as she prepared for another sleepless night, terror settled into her bones. What would happen next as darkness whispered their names? Sarah's heart raced as she crouched in the shadows of the living room, her gaze fixed on the flickering screen. The camera footage had become an obsession, a terrifying window into a past that felt too close for comfort. Each night, it revealed chilling secrets, the figure standing just beyond the glass, the indistinct faces watching, always watching. Emma's innocent curiosity had earned something dark, and the house was now alive with its whispers. As the clock ticked closer to midnight, the air grew thicker, suffocating her under its weight. She clamped a hand over her mouth to stifle the scream that threatened to escape. Shadows flickered beyond the window, just out of the glow of the street lamp. They moved with a sinister grace, and Sarah's pulse quickened. Were those the shadows that the neighbors had warned her about? Were they the remnants of those who had vanished before her? Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the kitchen, rattling the dishes in the cupboards. Emma shot upright in bed, her little voice trembling. "Mommy?" "Stay there, sweetheart. I'll be right back," Sarah whispered, voice shaking. She fought the urge to run, forcing her legs to move toward the kitchen. Silence cloaked the house like a heavy blanket. Each step felt like a step deeper into a pit of despair. She gripped the doorframe, peering into the darkness. A fragment of silver glinted under the moonlight. A broken picture frame lay shattered on the ground. Sarah knelt beside it, feeling the cool glass press against her fingertips. The photo, once a smiling family full of life, now lay in pieces, their faces split and twisted. A breeze swept through the room, then stopped, the air around her crackling with tension. "What's happening?" she murmured to herself, rising slowly. She looked at the hallway, suddenly aware of a sound, a whisper, soft and insistent, calling her name. Sarah. It echoed just beyond her reach. Her own name felt foreign, a taunt that sent chills down her spine. She looked toward the darkened hallway where the camera was, terrifyingly aware of its unblinking gaze. Did it know what was coming next? Was it waiting for her to look deeper? She felt compelled, pulled by something unseen, her thoughts a chaotic whirl. Max stirred in his crib, his small voice breaking through her panic. "Mommy, I'm scared." "Just a minute, buddy," she called, the calming tone barely masking her fear. She forced her feet to carry her to the hallway, a battle against her racing heartbeat. At the end, the camera glowed ominously, its display flickering, showing static interspersed with dark shapes that twisted and writhed. They looked almost like the previous family, but their eyes, empty and soulless, stared back at her from the screen. Suddenly, the whispers crescendoed into a cacophony of shrieks, and the camera feed abruptly shut off. The silence that followed was deafening, as if the world had halted in anticipation. The front door swung open on its own, creaking slowly, revealing a night that felt impossibly darker. Sarah's breath caught as she peered outside. A figure stood halfway down the street, shrouded in moonlight, mouth moving in silent words. "Mommy!" Emma screamed, her voice breaking Sarah from her trance. Just before she could rush back, the figure turned, revealing a face that she recognized from the footage, the last family. They were not lost, not vanished. They were here, alive and twisted in despair, beckoning her to join them in whatever horror awaited. What had she done by moving in? As dread washed over her, one thought screamed in her mind. Would she and her children become part of a story that never ended? The hollow silence held promise and threat as she staggered back. But before she could turn to her kids, a hand gripped her shoulder. It was cold, close enough that she could feel the breath on her neck. As darkness closed in, a question hung in the air like a thick fog. How far would she go to protect her family from the terror that had chosen them? Sarah's instincts kicked in, and she spun around, ready to face whatever horror lurked behind her. The hand on her shoulder tightened, like iron on flesh. But when she turned, the darkness parted to reveal nothing, no one. Only the chill of the night air danced around her. She shook her head, fighting off the fog of fear that seeped into her thoughts, an unsettling reminder that she was utterly alone. "Emma! Max!" she called, urgency bleeding into her voice. She stumbled back towards the bedrooms, heart hammering like a drum in her chest. The fluorescent light of the hallway flickered, casting erratic shadows that played tricks on her eyes. Each step felt like wading through invisible tar, thick and agonizing. As she approached Emma's door, her breath caught again. It was wide open, a gaping maw that beckoned her into the darkness. "Stay inside!" she shouted, a command aimed more at herself than her children. But there was no response from Emma. "Emma!" Panic surged through her as she stepped inside the room, dread pooling in her stomach. The little girl's bed was empty, blankets tossed aside. Sarah's mind raced. Had she sleepwalked, lost in the night like the family on the screen? Images of eerily empty eyes and cold smiles flooded her thoughts. Then a soft giggle floated from the corner of the room, light and playful. Sarah's heart skipped like a vinyl record stuck in a loop. Following the sound, she turned, only to find Max's crib undisturbed. Yet the giggle continued, taunting her, pulling her deeper into her nightmare. "Emma!" she yelled, voice almost breaking. But instead of the terrified voice that should have followed, a long, slow whisper dragged through the air around her. "Sarah." The sound slithered around her, wrapping her in its shadowy embrace. She stepped back, colliding with something cool and metallic. Her eyes snapped to the camera, still recording, as if mocking her. Desperately, she glanced at the hallway again. The front door hung wide open, inviting the night into her home. A handful of leaves danced gently in the doorway, whispering secrets of the world outside. Fear gripped her tighter. She couldn't stay here. She had to find Emma. Without thinking, Sarah dashed into the hallway, her pulse echoing in her eardrums. Every creak of the floor seemed amplified, an unwanted accompaniment to her frantic path. As she neared the staircase, the soft whisper morphed into a growl, a low, rumbling menace that sent cold shivers cascading down her spine. "Go back, go back," it snarled, drowning her in its sinister rhythm. But she couldn't go back. She had to go forward to find her children. Just then, a shadow darted past, momentarily catching her eye. She turned, gasping. It was only a trick of the light, or was it? She squinted into the darkened corners, desperately seeking the source of her fear. Just as she steadied herself, the giggle returned, more immediate, more foreboding. "Mommy!" Emma's voice finally broke through, but it was distant, fading into the fabric of the dark like smoke. "Emma, where are you?" She stumbled toward the sound, adrenaline pumping, eyes wide in desperation. "Mommy!" In that instant, she felt it again, the cold grip on her shoulder, firm and unwavering. She wheeled around, eyes wild, ready to confront her stalker. But once more, she encountered only air. The whispers escalated, layered over each other like a mournful choir. As Sarah moved further down the hall, the walls seemed to close in, the living space warping into something grotesque. The very air shifted. It felt heavier, suffocating her resolve. "Mommy." Emma's voice, now little more than a wail, slipped through the floorboards underfoot, pulling her like a tide. Where was she? But before Sarah could turn back, the lights flickered once more, and a sudden cold wind swept through the corridor, extinguishing the remnants of warmth she had left. "Come play with us, Sarah," they breathed. An icy jolt seized her heart. She stood frozen, torn between the need to protect her children and the horrible truth creeping ever closer. "Please," Sarah's voice shook, desperation bleeding through her pleas as she took a step back. A shadow surged into view, a mass that twisted and turned, coalescing into something maleficent, eyes glowing with hunger. She stumbled back, fear gripping her throat, and before she could turn away, the walls whispered her name. Sarah. In that final instant, when everything felt unmoored, she felt a hand slide into hers, a tiny, fragile hand. Emma was there? Or was she? The darkness surged, and a laughing face leered just behind her. "Mommy, let's go play." Emma's voice chimed in a sing-song manner, but there was something sinister, an echo of long-forgotten innocence wrapped in malice. "No, you're not my Emma," Sarah shouted, ripping her hand away and stepping back. An invisible weight pressed against her, dragging her into the shadow. She fought against it, desperation clawing at her insides. "Why do you want to hurt us?" she pleaded, eyes scanning the darkness for any sign of safety. The air brimmed with cold mirth, as if the very walls around her relished her fear. "Because it's fun," Emma's voice replied, morphing into multiple tones, each oozing with unsettling glee. The lights flickered violently, as if mirroring her rising dread. Before Sarah could retreat, Max's soft cries pierced through the room like shards of shattering glass. Sarah's heart splintered. She could not lose him, too. "Max, where are you?" The wretched laughter escalated, echoing against the walls. As the shadows writhed, she sensed a presence lurking, waiting for her to succumb. Her instinct screamed at her to escape, yet her maternal instinct pulled her toward the source of Max's cries. Continuing deeper into the labyrinth of shadows, the once familiar layout of her home disintegrated. The walls twisted bizarrely, elongating like reaching hands, clawing for her. She stumbled into the living room, heart racing, every sense brimming with a blend of terror and determination. "Mommy!" Max's wail emerged again, an agonizing sound that resonated with her deepest fears. She turned to the crib, her heart leaping into her throat when she saw it was empty, like an echo in a hollow grave. "No, no!" She spun, frantic. Every corner of her house felt like a graveyard of memories, memories now twisted and deformed. The darkness in the room pulsed like a living creature, breathing in sync with her rapid breaths. "Look closer, Sarah," the shadows sang, their voices now harmonizing in a cacophony of malice, the floor beneath her feet trembling. "Playtime is just beginning." Panic surged through her veins. She burst toward the back door, scraping her hands against the walls as the whispers intensified, pulling her back as if roots were materializing from the floorboards. "Let me go!" she screamed, but the shadows clung to her fiercely. Out of the corner of her eye, a fleeting flicker caught her attention. Her phone. It lay on the table, bright and luminous in the dark. Without thinking, she made a dive for it, the whispers shrieking in fury. Cradling the phone in her trembling hands, she quickly opened the camera, hoping to capture something, anything that could unravel this horror. The screen showed her reflection, but behind her, something moved. A mass of shifting shadows, a grotesque face watching with malevolent eyes. "Sarah," it rasped, the voice echoing within her skull. A decision ripped through her mind. She had to confront the shadows, shine light on this nightmare. "You're not real!" she shouted, probably more for herself than them. "You won't take my family!" As she recorded the darkness, it recoiled, the monstrous figure twisting and flickering like static on an old television. Fear morphed into anger. She was done being a victim. But just as she steadied her resolve, a chilling roar rocked the house, shaking the walls as they bulged and trembled, revealing cracks that seemed to breathe the very essence of despair. And then a sliver of daylight peeked through amid the chaos, a promise of clarity. Yet it felt like a siren's call, too inviting, too deceptive. With a fierce determination, Sarah raised her phone, ready to record whatever horrors awaited her next. "Show me what you really are!" As the shadows danced like wraiths around her, she took a shaky breath. With every ounce of strength, she walked deeper into the heart of darkness, facing whatever lay waiting. But just as she thought she had a grasp on reality, a voice broke through all sound, clear as day, whispering two chilling words: "It's coming." And somewhere deeper in the shadows, the laughter rose again, mingling with her pulse, stoking the flames of dread as the darkness pooled at her feet, thick and consuming. What was truly coming for her, and could she survive until she found out? The room trembled, the laughter wrapping around her like a suffocating blanket. It warped every comforting memory, every safe moment in her home, twisting them into grotesque versions of the past. Shadows lurked in every corner, and Sarah felt their icy grip as they clawed at her sanity. With every step deeper into the darkness, her heart pounded louder, drowning out the chaotic whispers that beckoned her with sweet promises of safety, lies wrapped in beguiling tones. "Follow me, Mommy," another voice taunted, this one not Emma's, but a multitude of echoes, each more twisted than the last. Her gut twisted as she pushed forward, a frantic mother against a force that wanted nothing more than to keep her lost forever. She swiped the camera back and forth, capturing anything that might reveal the impossible horror around her. A shadow lunged, darting across the corner of her view, but when she turned, there was nothing but darkened air. "Come play!" The mocking sing-song voice echoed again, but now it morphed, splitting and multiplying, crawling into her mind like a worm. It was everywhere. "Max!" she cried again, hoping a burst of sound might shatter the oppressive silence, but only silence returned, deep, foreboding, a constant reminder of her son's absence. Suddenly, the light from her phone dimmed, the battery icon flashing red as if mocking her flickering hope. She grabbed the charger from the table. It felt like a lifeline. As she plugged it in, the air grew dense, heavy with anticipation. Had she stirred something? A low growl echoed from the shadows, the sound rolling through the room like thunder on the horizon. She turned, panic rising like bile in her throat. The shadows began to pulse as if breathing, ready to consume whatever was left within their umbra. "Light! It burns!" a voice hissed, echoing with malice. Outer darkness pressed in on her, close, pinching off air. Sarah fumbled, trying to get the camera steady, her grip shaking, sweat trembling on her palms. She had to catch a glimpse of whatever horror haunted her home, had to capture the light that might save her. Then, in a swift moment, a flash from the camera lit up a figure standing stark still at the end of the hallway. A skeletal silhouette with limbs too long, its head cocked disturbingly to one side. The eyes, black voids, drained the warmth from the room, and Sarah sucked in her breath, fear paralyzing her for an instant. "Mommy," came the voice again, but it was not her daughter's soft pitch. The tone was deep, a mix of her worst nightmares calling her name. "Show yourself!" she shouted, anger overcoming the paralyzing dread. She needed to confront this, needed to force it to reveal what lay behind its monstrous facade. The lights flickered more violently now, shadows wrestling against the illumination of her phone screen. And in that brief moment, clarity. She saw them, the faces of the shadows, twisted, anguished. "We want to play," they chorused, but their eyes told the story of rage and torment. "Enough!" Sarah screamed, charging toward the entity. Her heart raced, pounding hard against her ribs. As she advanced, every ounce of fear dissipated, replaced by resolve. But the instant she closed the distance, the phantom let out a soul-wrenching shriek, the kind that made her bones rattle. A ravenous wind surged through the room, pulling her back as the shadow swelled, consuming her light. "In a matter of seconds," a small voice cried out, a flicker of hope piercing through the blackness. But the shadows were too overpowering, and she felt herself being dragged away from it. "Max!" she screamed, clawing at the air, reaching for her son's voice. The darkness laughed, a cacophony of glee. A flash, a momentary burst of light. Her phone screen flickered back to life, capturing the expression of fear on her face. And then, in the reflection, she saw something she never expected. Max, pale and trembling, peering at her from behind the shadows, trapped in a dark void. The shadows roared as they closed in on her, and Sarah felt the cold tendrils of despair tightening around her throat. "Let him go! I will end this!" she shouted as she turned the camera toward Max, her heart racing as her determination faltered, the darkness swirling dangerously near. But a voice echoed inside her, chilling her blood. "You cannot save him until you embrace it." An eerie calm washed over her as she realized, what did she truly need to confront? And behind her, the creature's distorted face twisted into a grin, revealing rows of jagged teeth as it said, "It's time to play." What game would they force her to play next? Would she dare enter the darkness to save her son? Sarah's heart raced like a wild drum beating in her ears. The air thickened with anticipation, turning her stomach into a twisted knot. She shivered, both from the creeping cold and the dread that settled deep within her bones. Were they taunting her? What game? She needed to know, for Max. "Embrace it," she whispered through trembling lips, the chilling words of the entity swirling in her mind like sickening smoke. What did that even mean? She gripped her phone tighter, the faint light flickering like her waning hope. The shadow shifted again, ebbing and flowing like a dark tide, revealing glimpses of tormented faces, their mouths twisted into rictus grins. "Join us," one hissed, its voice laden with malice. They seemed to relish her confusion, feeding off her fear. "Show me what you want," Sarah shouted, desperation tightening around her like a straitjacket. She had to muster courage. She had to push through. She took a step forward, her breath hitching in her throat. As if her challenge lit a match in the darkness, the shadows surged forward, enveloping her in a suffocating embrace. Panic clawed at her, but she held on to the camera as though it was her last thread of sanity. She aimed it out, hoping to catch the tormentors, to expose them in their hideous reality. Suddenly, the lights blinked, once, twice, and then went dark, leaving her in a suffocating void. She felt the presence all around, cold and sinister. The laughter, gentle and mocking, filled the air. "You want to know what we want?" it echoed, circling her like a predator. Then came a different voice, softer yet coated in venom. "Find the truth, Mommy. It's hiding in the darkness." Her gut twisted at the suggestion. Truth? What truth? She didn't want to confront whatever lay hidden in these shadows. She glanced to where Max had been, her heart pounding harder as dread twisted into a new shape. With a deep breath, she moved deeper into the hallway where the shadows coalesced. "Max!" she shouted again, louder this time. Silence followed, pressing against her. Is this what it meant to embrace the darkness, to willingly dive into the unknown? At that moment, the phone screen flickered back to life, illuminating an image that threw her into paralyzing horror. It revealed not just the shadows, but a path inscribed along the wall in strange, splintering lines running toward the back of the house. The image shifted. A grotesque figure emerged, a shadowy hand stretching out to her. She felt drawn to it, her body betraying her mind. "You must find the truth," it urged, a chilling seduction wrapped in its words. Her legs moved, almost of their own accord, toward the warped outline of the figure in the dim light. The house around her groaned with unseen pressure. She treaded carefully, every footfall echoing in the quiet, like a reminder of her frantic heartbeat. "What truth?" she whispered as she reached the doorway leading to the basement, the final frontier. A gust of wind rushed past her, carrying the scent of damp earth and decay. She shuddered, grappling with the mounting dread. In the basement, an otherworldly glow pulsed faintly, fighting against the swaths of darkness. With trembling hands, she adjusted her camera, steadying it against her chest. She pushed forward, the sound of dripping water breaking the silence. The moment she crossed the threshold, shadows danced wildly. The walls closed in, the air thickening. "Mommy," Max's voice coaxed again, distant but laced with urgency. "Max!" she gasped, tears pricking at her eyes, but the shadows whispered back. "He's waiting, but it's your turn to play now." Sarah swallowed hard, unsure of how to proceed. All her instincts screamed to flee, but she couldn't abandon her son, not again. Then the basement door slammed shut behind her. A blinding pulse of light surged, illuminating the frantic faces of the shadows, their mouths stretching wide in anticipation. Sarah froze, heart racing. What kind of game would they force her to play? And as the shadows lunged, she realized she would have to join them to uncover the secret they protected, to find her son before it was too late. What awaited her in the sinister depths? Would she be swallowed whole, or would she finally reach Max? The shadows surged toward her, thick and vicious, as if they were alive, hungry for her fear. Sarah stumbled backward, her breath catching in her throat. She raised the camera, the light flickering erratically, chasing away the darkness, but barely holding its own. "Mommy!" The voice was right there, too close, just beyond the veil of shadows. It was Max!
She darted forward, but the darkness pressed down like a weighted shroud. The air crackled with electricity, and every hair on her body stood on end. "Find the truth," they hissed again, and with each word, the walls seemed to pulse, constricting around her. "Max, I'm coming!" she cried, feeling the desperation slicing through her. She couldn't accept this nightmare as her reality. As the oppressive shadows wrapped tighter, she felt something shift within her, a flicker of defiance. No more hiding, no more running. She had to uncover whatever twisted truth lay buried in this hellish place. Pushing deeper, she fought the chill that seeped into her bones. She followed the strange lines etched into the walls that twisted in chaotic spirals. Each step sent ripples of discomfort racing through her. With each flicker of her phone's light, she glimpsed faces emerging from the blackness, some weeping, others smiling with grotesque delight. "Join us," they echoed, layered in her mind like haunting canyons of despair. "Shut up!" she screamed, desperation clawing at her throat. "I'm not like you!" But deep down, doubt wormed its way into her heart. What if she was? Ahead, the faint glow pulsed more fiercely, urging her on. Shadows writhed, forming a murky doorway that led deeper underground. She sensed something there, a presence so malevolent, so insatiable, it made her stomach churn. "Max!" she cried again, louder this time. What if he was trapped somewhere beyond where she could see? Her heart thundered like a mad drum, spurring her forward. The air thickened with the scent of earth, of something ancient and rotting. She stepped tentatively toward the pulsating light. Suddenly, it flickered and went dark, plunging her into a stifling void. Panic surged, overwhelming her senses. She raised the camera high, the little light barely cutting through the darkness. "Mommy," came the soft plea again, but now it was fraught with something darker, twisted. "Where are you?" she spat, fear and frustration battling within her. As the silence pressed in, the shadows thickened, curling around her legs and pulling her in with a terrible grip. A sudden burst of laughter sliced through the tension, a chilling cackle that reverberated off the walls. It was infectious, maddening, wrapping around her mind like a vice. "Are you ready to find the truth?" it jeered, teasing her. "I won't play!" Sarah shouted, panic fueling her defiance. But in her gut, she felt the seed of dread blossom. What if there was no choice? The shadows recoiled for a split second, surprised by her anger. Then they surged back, a tidal wave, smothering her. Sarah tumbled, hitting the cold ground. Pain shot through her wrist as she landed, and her camera skittered away. "Max!" she screamed, her voice echoing in the suffocating dark. Desperation ignited fire in her chest. She couldn't give up. Scrambling to her feet, she grasped the edge of the stairwell to steady herself. And then, emerging from the shadows, a flicker of light appeared. The faint outline of a figure, the grotesquely grinning face of a boy she recognized all too well. "Mommy, come play!" he beckoned, his tone sugary sweet but laced with something sinister. It was Max, or was it? A shiver of horror ran down her spine. "No!" she shouted, but instinct urged her to move closer. "What did you do?" she whispered, trembling as shadows danced at the edge of her vision. "Mommy, find the truth," he said, his voice unraveling. But as she stepped forward, deeper into the darkness where he beckoned, an ice-cold realization hit her. What if she wasn't just finding the truth, but becoming part of it? With her heart racing, she stood at the crossroads of despair and revelation. What awaited her in that blinding darkness? Could she rescue him, or would the truth consume them both? The darkness churned as Sarah's pulse quickened. The familiar outline of Max flickered like a dying star.
his innocent grin now warped, morphing into something sinister. And yet she couldn't pull herself away. "Max," she whispered, barely able to hear her own voice over the rising tide of darkness stealing around her. "Come play with me." The invitation hung in the air, honeyed and sharp, an invitation to madness. She wanted to reach for him, to touch him, but doubt pulled her back. What was this version of her son lurking in the shadows? Why did he look so wrong? The laughter echoed again, reverberating through the narrow space until it became a deafening roar. It felt alive, swirling around her, pushing her closer to the edge of comprehension and insanity. "Stop it!" she shouted, clenching her fists. "You're not my son!" The shadows pulsed as if in response, and with each denial, a gust of chilling wind swept through the corridor, biting at her exposed skin. "Mommy is scared," Max said, the words slithering through her head like a serpent. "Scared is fun." A flicker overhead caught her eye. A strange, ancient light flickered back to life, illuminating the way before her. The faces in the walls twisted into wails of torment, their mouths wide open in silent screams. They echoed the words she feared most: "Find the truth, find the truth." Realizing the depth of her situation, Sarah inched forward, each step swallowed by the dismal shadows, revealing more of Max's figure, now partially obscured. She couldn't surrender to despair. "I'm still here, Max! I'm coming!" "Don't you want to see?" His voice sing-songed, brushing against her like a caress, poison-tipped and alluring. "It's right here, just behind the door." Her heart raced. Door? What door? Panic edged closer as she scanned her surroundings for any sign of it. Was it an escape or yet another trap? She noticed an outline taking shape in the darkness, rough, uneven, and looming. The air grew thicker, malodorous, manifesting temptation and fear in equal measure. Glancing back toward Max, whose form flickered precariously, she took a step toward the dreadful threshold. The moment her fingers brushed against the cold wood, a sharp chill shot through her palm, crawling up her arm like ice. She hesitated, knowing she was on the precipice between salvation and destruction. "Please, Max, I need you." Her voice cracked, the weight of sorrow suffocating. "Mommy, open it!" he urged, his voice commanding, slicing through her defenses. Just as she found the resolve, the door swung wide open, releasing an eruption of shadows that howled as if punctured by the rays of light. Suddenly, chaotic images flooded her mind, memories contorted, glimpses of their past blending with horrors unimagined. She covered her ears, but the cacophony screamed louder than the shadows. Among the madness, a single face crystallized through the noise. It was her own, twisted and devastated, the moment she'd realized that a choice had to be made. "Do you want to know the truth?" A new voice boomed, deep and resonant, echoing off the cavernous walls. It loomed larger than the rest, an amalgamation of the shadows pouring into one oppressive mass. "You must let go of your past to find what's hidden beneath." The darkness seemed to swell with this new revelation, tangling around her, and for the first time since this nightmare began, a sliver of clarity pierced through her anguish. The truth was not merely to be discovered, it was a thing that demanded sacrifice. A guttural scream erupted from deep within her, a realization that shook her to her core. To save Max, she might have to lose herself. "Open your heart, Sarah." Max's figure loomed larger, eerily close,
his grin stretching wider, drawing her in, ready to reveal a truth far worse than she could imagine. With a final crash of thunder, she felt the world buckle beneath her feet. The shadows screamed louder, and visions swam before her eyes. Would she be able to brave the depths of this terrible truth, or would it consume everything she loved? And then, just before she was overwhelmed, a faint whisper cut through the chaos, chilling her to the bone. If you see the truth, it may forever change you. In that moment, Sarah understood, but the question remained. Was discovering the truth worth the cost of her own soul? The door loomed wide, a gaping maw calling to her, the shadows licking at her ankles like hungry tongues. Sarah stepped inside, heart hammering against her ribs, a relentless drum pounding as the door creaked ominously behind her, trapping her in an echoing silence that felt like a living entity. The moment she crossed the threshold, the air shifted. It felt electric, crackling with unspoken dread. She looked around to find herself in a cavernous room, the walls slick with darkness, absorbing every ray of light. Ribbons of murky fog slithered across the floor, curling around her feet as if testing her resolve. "Mommy, where are you?" Max's voice called again, distant yet impossibly close, a thread tying her to the horror that enveloped her. Panic clawed at her throat. "I'm here!" she cried, her own words echoing back at her, warped and tainted with despair. Suddenly, faces emerged from the shadows, eyes hollow, hauntingly familiar yet unrecognizable. Each seemed to reach out, mouths forming silent screams, twisted expressions of pain and longing. They had once been people, fellow parents, friends, ghosts of her past. She staggered back, bile rising in her throat. "Why are you here?" she gasped, dread swarming like bees in her mind. The faces shifted, coalescing into something monstrous. They whispered her name, a symphony of her guilt rebounding in the darkness. "You've come to find the truth," they hissed in unison, voices slithering into her ears. "But the truth can be a burden." A flicker of movement caught her eye. In the far corner, a dark figure danced just out of reach. Max? It was hard to tell. The interplay of shadows played tricks on her mind. The laughter returned, a mocking collage of nightmarish joy, heightening the sense of betrayal that churned within her. "Come play, Mommy!" The twisted laughter echoed, draining the color from her face. Fear slithered through her veins, and yet she felt tethered to that haunting melody, unable to resist. She stepped closer, each stride a gamble. "Don't be scared," the allure of her child's voice beckoned, warped yet unnaturally sweet. "Just a little further." What waited beyond that figure? Was it salvation or doom? Her eyes darted from one tortured face to the next, seeking guidance, but all she found were vacant stares dripping with sorrow and regret. "Leave this place," one of the specters croaked, desperation clawing at its tone. "You don't belong here. You must remember the past. It holds the key." Memory crashed over her like an incoming tide, glimpses of laughter, moments of joy twisted into shadows of her old life. She saw herself holding Max, his face lit by sunlight, but it shifted, darkening until it became a cruel parody. No longer her son, but an apparition taunting her from the depths of sorrow. They were all fading, slipping into obscurity, lost to the very darkness that had come for her. She could almost feel their hands clamoring for her, begging her to resist, to fight back against the creeping madness. "Max!" she shouted, determination boiling against the panicked mental wrangling.
Tell me what I need to do." The room shuddered, pulsing as if the very walls were alive. And Max's voice returned, clearer, more assertive. "You have to decide, Mommy. Open your heart or lose it." With a jolt, everything fell silent. For a heartbeat, time froze, leaving only her aching breath echoing around her. Determination swelled within her, but doubt clung tightly, a prickling sensation that twisted her gut. This wasn't just a game. A choice lay before her as heavy as the darkness surrounding her. Could she face what lurked beneath? Would facing the truth reclaim her son, or obliterate what was left of her soul? As the shadows began to swirl violently, gathering strength for something dreadful, a flicker of choice gleamed, an opening, a glimpse of light beckoning from the outskirts of her torture. But first, she needed to know. Would she pay the price for the truth, or would it consume her like a vengeful tide? A wave of darkness surged, threatening to drown her once more. What lay beyond that light, and would she dare to find out? Sarah felt the weight of the swirling darkness pressing against her chest, suffocating her resolve. The specters surrounding her were no longer just echoes of her past. They were each glimmers of the truth she had long avoided. She clutched her phone like a lifeline, its screen flickering dimly, but something within her ignited. She had come too far to turn back now. "Open your heart or lose it," Max's words pounded in her head like a war drum. "Will you embrace the truth?" It felt like a challenge, and despite the terror, she nodded to herself. She had to try to rescue Max and face the shadows that haunted them both. Tonight, she wouldn't let fear dictate her steps. "I'm not afraid of you," she shouted, voice reverberating in the vast chamber. The shadows roared back, a cacophony of anguished cries, swirling in a tempest around her, encroaching like a dark tide. But she would stand her ground. "You can't take him," she screamed, stepping closer to the figure of her son. "Max, I can hear you. I'm coming for you." The shadows writhed, forming grotesque shapes, each one a faceless burden of despair, pulling at her as if they wanted to drown her in their grief. "You won't save him," they hissed, their voices layered and sinister. "You have to join us, become one with the darkness." But right then, she felt a warmth brush against her fingertips, a reminder of sunshine, laughter, and safety. Memories flashed through her mind. Snuggling with Max on lazy afternoons, reading bedtime stories, the scent of fresh cookies baked with love. She would battle for those precious moments, no matter the cost. Taking a deep breath, Sarah steadied herself, letting that warmth envelope her heart. "I will face the truth," she declared, body trembling but resolute. "You won't break me." With that proclamation, she charged forward, pushing the camera ahead, illuminating the path against the dark. The light hit the shadows, causing them to recoil slightly, their furious shrieks bouncing off the walls, drowning out her own fears. For a brief moment, she caught a glimpse of what lay ahead. Max's outline flickered in the darkness, calling for her, and she sprinted towards him. "Mommy!" Max cried again, a fragile plea wrapped in a child's innocence. The shadows lunged, but Sarah swung the camera wildly, the bright beam tracing their movements, revealing twisted faces struggling against the brightness. "Stay away from my son!" Her voice was a battle cry of defiance. With newfound courage, she pushed past the gloom and reached the spot where Max stood. Less a figure than a memory, suspended in time and darkness. She reached out her hand, trembling, but Max didn't move closer. Instead, he looked at her with wide, pleading eyes. "Do it, Mommy," he urged. "Open your heart." In that moment, she understood. This wasn't just about confronting the darkness, but also accepting the pain associated with love and loss. A soft tear slipped down her cheek, merging joy and sorrow into a potent resolve. Holding her heart open, she screamed, "I choose love! I choose my family! I won't let you keep us apart!" The phantoms recoiled as if struck, their anguished howls growing louder. Shadows fractured under the intensity of her declaration. "Come on, Max," she shouted, her voice an undaunted beacon of hope. "We're leaving this place together." As she stepped forward, the hold of the darkness weakened. Like a river releasing its flood, the shadows began to recede, revealing the path behind them. Suddenly, the faces of those lost flickered between despair and wistfulness. She saw the truth now. Each had experienced loss, yet they longed for connection. They were not monsters. They were mourning souls trapped by their sorrow. "Let them go," she whispered, almost to herself, feeling compassion flood through her heart. And as she did, a light erupted, radiant and pure. It washed over the shadows that had consumed her home, washing away the bitterness. The air cleared, and Sarah gasped, suddenly filled with clarity. "Mommy!" Max stepped into the light, and she felt his warm little hand grasp hers. The darkness around them cracked and collapsed, as if fading into the ether, relinquishing its hold completely. They stumbled out into a night sky painted with stars, crisp air filling her lungs, the weight of despair finally lifting. They were free. Max beamed up at her, his innocent smile vibrant against the dark backdrop of their former prison. "We did it!" he cheered, spinning around as if the simple joy of being together was enough to banish all fears. Feeling the warmth of his laughter, Sarah's heart filled with a fierce sense of hope. They had faced the darkness and prevailed. "Yes, we did," she agreed, pulling him into a fierce hug, relishing the feel of his small body against her. As they too let out a kaleidoscope of laughter, reminders of their love echoed into the night, mingling with the stars above. They would start fresh, knowing that the shadows would always linger, but they could never take them again. Love, after all, was stronger than any fear. And as the winds gently whispered through the trees, mingling with the fragrance of freedom, Sarah and Max walked away hand in hand, stepping into a future filled with brighter days. Though the darkness had once consumed her, she understood now. Love was the light that would always guide her home. And remember, the next time you feel ensnared in shadows, love fiercely and fearlessly. Now, if you enjoyed this wild ride, you need to subscribe now.
Is the moment to show your support. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Join the family and let's keep exploring together.